I've been driving trucks for years, and there's one rule I've always followed. Never pick up hitchhikers. It's not just about safety, it's about the stories you hear on the road. But one night, I broke that rule, and I'll never forget what happened. It was late, around 1:30 a.m., and I was hauling a load through a desolate stretch of highway in New Mexico. The kind of road where you don't see another car for hours. The only light came from my headlights and the occasional flicker of a distant radio tower. That's when I saw him. A man standing on the shoulder of the road, his thumb out. He was wearing a faded jacket and jeans, carrying nothing but a small backpack. I should have kept driving, but something about him made me slow down. Maybe it was the way he looked. Tired, harmless, like he'd been walking for miles. I pulled over and rolled down the window. "Where you headed?" I asked. "If you could take me as far as the next town, I'd appreciate it." Against my better judgment, I unlocked the door and let him climb in. He didn't say much, just sat quietly in the passenger seat, staring out at the dark road ahead. I tried to make small talk, but he only gave short answers. Something about him felt off. After about 20 minutes of silence, he finally spoke. "You ever hear about this stretch of highway?" he asked. "No," I replied. "What about it?" "They call it the Devil's Mile," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "People disappear out here. Some say it's cursed." I laughed nervously. Sounds like an old trucker's tale. He didn't laugh. Instead, he turned to look at me, and that's when I noticed something strange. His face. It didn't look right. His eyes were too dark, almost black, and his skin seemed pale and waxy under the glow of the dashboard lights. Before I could say anything, he smiled, a wide, unnatural grin that sent chills down my spine. "You shouldn't have stopped," he said softly. My heart pounded as I gripped the wheel tighter. "What are you talking about?" He didn't answer. Instead, he leaned back in his seat and closed his eyes like nothing was wrong. I kept driving, my hands shaking on the wheel. When we reached the next town, a tiny place with one gas station, I pulled over and told him this was as far as I could take him. He nodded and climbed out without a word. As soon as he shut the door, I sped off, not even waiting to see where he went. But here's the thing. When I glanced in my rearview mirror, there was no one there.